to touch on my top 10 list, and I'm going to break this bad boy down on how I came about this list. Shout out to Copilot because I did use that to generate certain criteria I wanted, and I'm going to show you what those criteria were. So I look at I look at stats. This is all from the previous season, so 25, 26 seasons. So I'm doing running backs, so I'm doing wide receivers, tight ends. I'm looking at stats. Quarterbacks, I'm looking at stats, your individual stats for quarterbacks, passing yards, passing TDs, interceptions, TD to interception ratio, completion percentage, passer rating, rushing stats are included as well. Your offensive impact and playmaking, decision making and command, and your in playoff success. That is my criteria that I looked for when I was looking up some of these stats and trying to generate my list. So I have a list here. Initially, when I put this into Copilot, and I just gave stats for the 25-26 season. This includes rushing stats as well. So the stats I mentioned: passing yards, TD to interception ratio, completion percentage, passer rating, all that jazz is included. And initially, this just pushed out. I didn't initially didn't have playoff success in here, and this was the initial list that it produced. So it was Josh Allen one, Matthew Stafford two, Drake May number three, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, Jordan Love, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, in that order. So one was Josh Allen, two was Stafford, three was May, four was Goff, five was Hurts, six was Jackson, seven was Prescott, eight was Jordan Love, nine was Mahomes, 10 is Justin Herbert. That's how it would have spit out. And I'm like, okay. And that was just based off initially, that was excluding playoff success. And it was just strictly stats. So passing yards, passing TDs, interceptions, TD interception ratio, completion percentage, passer rating, and then rushing stats. And then I went back into Copilot and I was like, okay, let's include uh, playoff success. What does that look like? You had guys that actually make the playoffs. Not every quarterback based off last season. Our consensus top five quarterbacks, whatever order: Joe Burrow, Pat, Lamar didn't make the playoffs. Dak didn't make the playoffs. Who is a top 10 quarterback consistently? Talking about. Uh, so I said, let me include playoff success. And so what happened was when I did that, it kind of broke down percentages. And so it said passing yards 15 far as weighing the top 10 lists. So passing yards will be 15%, passing TDs will be a 15%, TD to interception ratios will be another 15%, completion percentage will be 10%, passer rating is 10%, um, playmaking and offensive impact is 10%, decision making and command is 5%, and then playoff success is 10%. So that's how it was weighing everything based off the stats, based off playoff success, based off playmaking, decision making, and so forth. It's how it weighed each thing to, I think it's totals out to 100%. So based off that, when I added in playoff success, it spit out me another list here, which I'm going to read off. So one was Stafford, two was Allen, three was May, four was Goff, five was Hurts, six was Jackson, seven was Prescott, eight was Love, nine was Mahomes, 10 was Herbert. I'm like, okay, cool. For me, I was like, hey, I have to have Sam Darnold in my top 10. So I haven't even got to my list yet. This is just what AI was spitting out, Copilot was spitting out when I was putting in these different things. So I said, okay, make a case for Sam Darnold being in the top 10. And so, based off Copilot and what it said, Sam Darnold would have a strong case for the back end of his top 10, primarily because of his, he had 4,048 passing yards, 25 TDs, 14 interceptions, which, gosh darn it, that is high. And there was a lot of guys with a lot of double-digit interceptions. We'll look at that in a moment. He had a 67.7% completion percentage, 99.1 passer rating, NFC number one seed, of course, Super Bowl champ. And So like the biggest argument is the playoff success, which he did well in the playoffs. Sam Darnold did. Maybe Super Bowl, not so much for that. NFC Championship game, he made plays. Division round, he made big plays. Um, so like they mentioned, like Mahomes missed the playoffs. Herbert was out in the wild card. Jordan Love lost in the wild card. Uh, Dak Prescott, of course, they made the playoffs along with other guys too. Trying to see what else they mentioned on this here. To making the case for Darnold. So things that, based off what the criteria I put in as far as stats, like his efficiency metrics were low. Darnold. The thing that also hurt Darnold was the 14 interceptions. Uh, and he wasn't the only one at double digits. Sunshine had, Trevor Lawrence had double digit interceptions. So did Baker. Those three for sure did. And for me, I'm like, I'm just looking at stats. I'm like, gosh, dang. And then for me, the other thing for me, when I'm looking at, okay, if we have like 23 touchdowns and you got 15 interceptions versus a guy, Brock Purdy was another one. I think that also had, I think he had double digit interceptions. To me, that's something I look at and I'm like, this makes me like, uh, I'm not a fan of that person just looking at stats. I understand not all interceptions are equal. Goes off his hands. There's a lot of factors, but just looking at the stats, no, that don't tell the whole story. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm not a big fan of that. Um, so the thing based off what Clubhouse spit out the 14 interceptions, like from a stat standpoint, kind of like, okay. So then they gave me a revised top 10 list based off including Sam Darnold. So Stafford still one, Allen still two, May still three, Goff is still four, Hurts is still at five, Jackson is still at six, Prescott is still at seven. No, Prescott is at seven, Darnold is at eight, Jordan Love is at nine, Mahomes is at 10. So first our previous list would be Justin Herbert, which I'm not mad at. I'll get to all that. So, the reasoning for putting him at eight based off co-pilot, he doesn't have the passing deficiency of Stafford, May, Goff, or Love, but 4,000-yard season, 25 passing TDs, the stats, 91 passer rating, number one seed, conference title, Super Bowl champ. I'm like, cool. So here we go. I took all this information based off what I put in, and I'll give you my list. All right, so let me hit y'all with my actual list. So I took all the information and I just gave y'all one, two, um, three different top 10 lists based off information that I put into Copilot, based off stats, based off 2025, based off 2005, 2026 season, based off playoff success of this previous season. Um, I'm just hit that again as well. So we have passing yards, passing TDs, interceptions, TD to interception ratio, completion percentage, passer rating, also included rushing stats, also playoff success only from this past season. I'm not looking at historical, blah, 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 blah. You're not doing that. Only thing from the 2005, 2026 season. Decision making and command, offensive impact and playmaking. Those are my criteria that I use for the top 10 list. Now, based off that, I'm going 1 through 10. What I had as my top 10 list, and I'm going to break down why you'll see certain players where they had. Some stuff is just unquestioned on some of this, but some stuff I think you could poke holes at and be like, So number one, Stafford. Number two, Josh Allen. Number three, Drake May. Number four, Jared Goff. Number five, Sam D. Number four, Jordan Love. What? Number six, I said number four, Jordan Love. I meant number six, Jordan Love. Number seven, Dak Prescott. Number eight, Caleb Williams. Number nine, Lamar Jackson. Number 10, Pat Mahomes. Now, I'm going to start at 10 and 9. I had Mahomes and Jackson. on this list, well, we know they both didn't make the playoffs. We know Jared Goff didn't make the playoffs, but he's at number 4 on my list. Now, stats, like I say, when I do these rankings, like any other position, for me, I'm looking at the stats. That does tell a story, not the whole story. It does tell a story. And Jared Goff, had a stats wise had a good season. I know the Lions didn't make the playoffs, but Jared Goff, has been, he's been playing well, and there's no way I can look past his stat line alone and then not have him somewhere on this list. Maybe you won't have him as high as 4 like I do, but it's like I just can't just look past that and be like, okay, whatever. Also, to kind of further that point, is almost too like we know the Houston Texans to make the playoffs, right? And we saw how CJ Stroud looked. Would you have him top 10? Because I do weigh playoff, not just making the playoffs, but your success in the playoffs. I think that matters. And that's another reason why I don't have Justin Herbert on my list, is because he's made the playoffs before. He made it this past season. Um, Under his reign as a starting quarterback for the Chargers, he has yet, in these Chargers teams with him, has yet to win a playoff game. To me, that says something. It says a lot of something. Um, and it doesn't say a lot of good, in my opinion. So I think that does matter to a degree, not the whole story. But he's super talented. He's not on my top 10 list. But I have Lamar and Pat Mahomes on here at the bottom tier. There's, for me, when I was looking, I was on what's it? What do you call it? PFF quarterback rankings. I looked at that. I also looked at, what was the other site? Pro Football Reference 2005, 2026 QB NFL stats. But I'll show you the where I actually sourced my data. No, I did use, like I said, Copilot. Pro Football Reference was the main one I was looking at. And as I look through here, man, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get back to my list. I did want to touch on. There was a lot of, yes, you had high passing yards. Matthew Stafford, 4,707 yards, 46 TDs, 8 INTs. Jared Goff, 4,564 passing yards, 34 TDs, 8 interceptions. Um, Dak Prescott, 4,552 yards, 30 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. But he had double digits. I know I said something about the double digits, but then I also say, guys with 25, 29 touchdowns, 25 touchdowns, 26 touchdowns, 26 touchdowns, 22 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. Pat Mahomes, like, let me filter this by the interceptions. So Geno Smith led the league in interceptions. You had Tua with another 15 INTs. I'm not going to talk about all these guys, but Sam Darnold, he had the 14 INTs, but you only have 25 touchdowns. Like, these are stats I put up when I be playing NFL franchise. You know what I'm saying? It's not good, even in the virtual world. It's definitely not good in reality. Um, Justin Herbert, another guy, 13 INTs, 26 touchdowns. That's like 50%. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm looking at that and I say, I understand not every NFL, we go through all 13, 17, 15, 14 interceptions for some of these guys. And it's like, I don't like that. Josh Allen had 10 touchdowns, 25 TDs. Um, so some of these guys, I know Pat Mahomes had played a full year. Um, Trevor Lawrence was another guy. Put up a lot of passing yards, 4,007 passing yards, 29 TDs, 12 picks. That's just not something that I find attractive with quarterbacks. That's just me. But beyond that, just looking at, this is just stats talk real quick. That's what I'm looking at. When I look at this as well, I'm gonna just go down to Lamar and Pat. So Lamar Jackson, played 13 games. How many games did Pat play? 14. Like I already mentioned, Pat Mahomes was 22-11. Um, Lamar Jackson was 21-7, 21 touchdowns, 7 INTs, but he had 2,549 passing yards. Lamar did. So I know he missed games. I understand that. And that was one of the reasons why I have him at 9. Initially, I had him at, I think, at 6, or I had him at 8, 8 on my list. And Caleb was like around like 9. I think or something like that. It was a little higher. But I said, I can't, based off this past season, in fairness, look at Caleb Williams or look at Jordan Love, two guys that made the playoffs, and what they did this past season to uplift a guy that who, if I was doing a list, period, oh, number one, number two, number three, top three quarterback for me, period, and Lamar Jackson. So that's what I mean. I can't, even with having Pat at 10, I understand his historical success, but based off this past season, I'm not interested in 22-11. I'm not. Um, so I will say overall, the quarterback position, I think there needs to be better play overall. Because between just looking at the stats, 46-8, 34-8, 30-10 with Stafford, Goff, and Prescott, and then also even made 31-8. You had Caleb with 27-7, almost 4,000 yards and 3,942. But, there's a significant drop off, just overall. I'm just saying that. But back to my list, I say Stafford, Allen, May, Goff, Darnold, Love, Prescott, Williams, Jackson, Mahomes. Uh, that's my list. Of course, I did weigh in certain areas on my list. I did weigh playoff success, or at the very least making to the playoffs more than others. I think Stafford being number one is unquestioned. Sam Darnold been a Super Bowl champion and leading his team. The reason why his team was in the Super Bowl, made to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, does matter. One of the reasons, not the sole reason, does matter. I can also say that like guys like Mahomes, Jackson, Prescott, Allen, there's more weight on them to do more for their team versus other quarterbacks in the league. I would say with Jordan Love, we'll see in totality where he ends up as a player. I think he has all the physical talent. Um, Maybe one day he can put that all together. Same thing kind of with Herbert. Herbert could have been on this list. I could have put him at 10. I could have completely had like Mahomes off the list. We had him off the list, but it was like I was looking. I even looked at Trevor Lawrence. I was like, dang, where do I could have had Trevor Lawrence on the list. I'm just saying those double digit INTs, man. I'd be like, I'm like, that's like, if I had a receiver and he got double digit drops in one season, it's like, so there's just things like that I'm looking at that I do look at. But I, gave y'all my criteria, gave y'all my criteria, gave y'all you know, what I look for, what I made my list off of. Maybe y'all rearrange it differently or have a different idea of a list. But um, I will say, if I was just doing a list in general, forget that. If I was a GM, owner of a team, whatever the case may be, and I'm starting a franchise, there's only 3 quarterbacks that I'm trying to go after. I want one of these 3. Lamar Jackson, Dak Prescott, or Justin Herbert. Straight up. So, those are my, especially Dak and Lamar, those are my guys. Like as a fan, I'm a fan of for real, for real. But we have to, when doing these lists, I think everything should be based from the lens of what happened in the previous season. because that's the only thing that's consistent and fair as far as when we're doing these rankings. Because what Stafford been in the league for over a decade. I think Allen, Lamar, Mahomes are coming up on 10 years. Caleb Williams is about to be in his third year. May's about to be in his third year. Golf, Darnold was like what, year 8. Love is like maybe year 5. Prescott is maybe right at year 10, about to be year 10. So these guys are on this list on all over the place as far as years in the league. And not to mention years started. Not all these guys started right off the bat, or they maybe started right off the bat and then had some years like with Darnold where you were backup. So guys are early on in their career, so it's like to try to do a totality list of include, this guy's MVP. Okay, this guy don't have an MVP. Well, shoot, he's only in his second year in the league or third year in the league. So it's like, where do we find the consistency in these lists overall? Um, and I say talent is one thing, but playing a position and what you do at that position does matter. So um, I'm end up doing another list of like my projections for like the 26-27 season as well to see what that looks like. It will look a lot different in certain spots. And I like Jalen Hurts, but if you watch any of last season, he was not a top 10 quarterback. I actually watched him play, not a top 10 guy. I understand Super Bowl success from a year ago, even from 3 years ago, making Super Bowl, losing, but being the best player within that game. Um, but he maybe was like at 11, I don't know, but he's not a guy right now. And for me, that where I like that's the position, like nah, he not there yet quite, not consistent enough in his play. So maybe that'll change this year with AJ Brown being gone. We'll have to see. My lists, those are my thoughts. Um, when I do go about making these lists and what I truly do look at. And we just have to see going forward. We'll see what happens this year in the NFL. Uh, I hope that for me personally, as a fan, that Lamar Jackson, you know, it can one just stay healthy. Because when he's healthy, like he was even this past season, when he was healthy, looking great. Same for all these guys. I think the league is better when you have a healthy QB, a healthy Jordan Love, Prescott, Williams, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, Allen, Stafford, all of them. So let's see what happens, man. Until next time, sounding off. Speak It Boldly Sports Podcast. Let's go.